I mean, well, what could you say? All you have to do is go back and watch the Season of the Fan Season 2 and how videos would start midway into the end of that season. The pain that we had to go through that year, the non competing levels of the defense, of the offense, guys quitting. You had fans that season leaving, not because we're a bad fan base, but because you don't fool us. We won't take certain things. You had fans leaving home games at the end of the third quarter that year. It was an embarrassment. We love our Philadelphia Eagles. We get criticized for it a lot. People say we have too much passion. You know, these are horrible fans. The reason I wanted to start doing this series years ago is because I wanted people to see what being a Philadelphia Eagles fan was really all about. Going through a season, game by game, doing my vlogs, whether it was with friends or just, well, mainly it's been on myself doing it. But I wanted to kind of show what it was, to be a fan of this team. In those years, Chip Kelly was the head coach. I started this series when Chip Kelly was in his second season. We got off to a really good start that year. It all fell apart. We know this. The second year I did this, the second season, was Chip Kelly's final season as a head coach with the Eagles. And it was one of the more pathetic seasons that I've ever witnessed. The team laid down. They didn't care. There was no heart. There was no effort. They had a coaching staff that didn't have a clue. Got rid of star players for no apparent reason, just to do it. Wouldn't bring back star players just because they felt like it. Didn't want to pay them. We suffered that year. That was a year that I suffered every game. And after every game, I would make my video, and you would see it in my emotion, you would hear it in my voice. It was embarrassing. But I love this team, and all I want them to do is win. That's what any fan worth their salt wants their team to do, is win. Find a way. Get it corrected, get it right, and win. We hear it all the time about the rings. I totally. It is what it is. As a fan, I can't do anything about the fact the Eagles never won a Super Bowl. They've won 3 NFL championships. And for people to say that they don't matter, you're not a football fan. Because anyone that thinks that NFL championships don't mean anything, you can't call yourself a real football fan. Because you have no clue about the history of the game. I digress from that. Being a Philadelphia Eagles fan means you have to deal with disappointment. We've had some rough years. We've had some really fun years. We've had years that have been in between. Being a fan of an NFL team and going through an NFL game is a roller coaster ride of emotions unlike any other sport. It's a 16-game season, 4 quarters, 2 halves, maybe overtime. There is so much that happens in a game, and there's so much that you can go back and look at. The beauty of this game is it's played once a week for your team. And then you have the whole rest of the week to talk about it, good or bad. That's the beauty of it. It's short, it's 16 regular season games, and then the playoffs if your team's in it. I haven't seen this team in the playoffs since Chip Kelly's first season. I haven't seen this team win a playoff game since 2008. It's been a while. I get back to my point that I wanted, that I started this video with. The second season of the Fan series was a difficult year for me to make these vids. But I wanted to keep it going. I wanted to keep the series going and just keep doing it because it's all about the good and the bad. You know, a lot of the local Dallas fans don't seem to understand when your team loses, you still have to talk about it. Which, by the way, Zeke Elliott suspended 6 games now. Aha. So, anyhow, going through seasons though, you're riding the roller coaster every game, every week. You know, but that season was just an embarrassment. It was an absolute travesty of a season. And I didn't know how long it was going to take for this team to turn things around. I had no idea. You know, because you see teams that go through this and they still aren't rebuilt. They still haven't recovered. There's still teams looking for a quarterback or a coach or what have you. So last season we get Carson Wentz, we get Doug Peterson, new coaching staff, new regime. Howie Roseman gets his job back. We go through all of that. And last season, obviously, they got off to a 3-0 start. And it was rather unexpected, but they did. And then, of course, Lane Johnson, the suspension comes down. He's out 10 games. The team kind of, went in a tailspin after the loss in Detroit. On the late fourth quarter fumble by Ryan Matthews. And, Carson Wentz went through his rookie growing pains. Doug Peterson went through his rookie head coach growing pains. And the team finished 7-9. But they showed some promise. Towards the end of the season, they showed some promise. They played for Doug Peterson. People were saying, Doug Peterson. But the players were playing for him at the end. And I made comment of that at the end of the season vid. I said, hey, these guys are playing for him. We can say what we want about Doug Peterson, but the players seem to be playing for him even in a losing season. That says something. They're still competing out there. So this season starts. We finally beat Washington after 5 losses to them in a row. Lose a tough game at Kansas City. Look, they played in that game, though. They showed up. It was a tough one. Hail Mary doesn't go our way at the end. Okay, a loss. Tough place to win anyhow, Arrowhead. What can you do? Chiefs are a good team. They're still undefeated right now. Having a special season right there. Next 4 games are wins. And all the national pundits and the talking heads, the Whitlocks out there that say, who'd they beat? They didn't beat anybody. They beat the Giants. The Giants haven't had a win. They beat the Chargers when they didn't have a win. They beat the Cardinals. They're not good. Now, who they play? Who they beat? I love it when people say that because you see it, the old saying, any given Sunday, right? When you're supposed to win a game, you don't always win. How many times do we see good teams, really good teams, lose to teams that they have no business losing to in football? It happens every week. There's upsets every week. People are out of their suicide pools every week because of upsets. You play who's on your schedule. It's not up to the Eagles whether the Giants had a win before they played them, or the Chargers had a win before they played them, or the Cardinals were a better team before they played them. You play who's on your schedule. But if you're a good team, a playoff caliber team, you win those games. And that's exactly what the Eagles did. They found ways to win each of those games. A miraculous 61-yard field goal by a rookie kicker to beat the Giants. Holding the ball with almost 7 minutes to go in the game to run out the game in L.A. against the Chargers. Crushing the Cardinals, which, by the way, we did owe them. Crushing the Cardinals. Finding different ways to win every week. And now, off a short week, going to Carolina, a team that's 4-1 like the Eagles right now. One of the best teams in the NFC. One of the best teams in football when you're 4-1 to start a season. On a short week, Thursday Night Football, national audience. That would have been a loss last year. It certainly would have been a loss the year before. The Eagles wouldn't even shown up the year before. but they found a way to win. And how did they do that? And by the way, game ball goes to the Eagles' defense. The whole unit. You know why? Because they showed up. They played. They played their asses off in this game. And they had injuries in the game. Their starting middle linebacker, Jordan Hicks, goes out. Ankle injury, doesn't return. Bradham was out for a bit, who balled out. Who's had a really good year this year. Jernigan, who I said before the season was going to be a really good pickup for this team. And I said that was going to be one of those pickups that people were going to be talking. And they talked about on TV today. National people were saying, boy, what a pickup Timmy Jernigan was for the Eagles. I said before the season, if you remember my season preview vid, I said this guy's going to be one of those moves. If the Eagles go on to do great things this season, people are going to say, boy, what a great move that was. Jernigan goes out for a bit, returns. Graham goes out for a bit, returns. But the guys who stepped up for them, I mean, Darby goes out week 1. Guys come in, Rasul Douglas, guys come in and step up, make plays. Defensive line is nasty with a great rotation and depth. No one runs against this defense. I know Denver's still statistically number 1, but we're right there with them. Because you don't run against this Eagles front line. They win at the point of attack, and I always have said this. You win in this league in the trenches. You win offensively, and you win defensively in the trenches. When you have a good team and you're winning all these games, it's because you're winning those one-on-one battles in front. That's how you win in football. And yeah, you still got to execute and make the plays, but you got to win on the snap. You got to win in the trenches, and this team is finding a way to do that on both sides of the ball, and it's a thing of beauty. When I saw what I saw those years ago in Chips last year, when this team was laying down for teams, when they weren't showing up, when they were giving up in the second quarter of games, and it was an embarrassment to what I'm seeing now, I can't be more proud to be an Eagles fan and happy. They've given me everything I've wanted this year and more. To this point. There's a long way to go. And they got some tough games coming up, They do. But this team on a short week went into Carolina and found a way to win. And it feels damn good. It feels damn good. Because we're finally getting what we've wanted. We're getting a team that has passion, that is angry on defense, plays with emotion. A quarterback who's a leader. Young quarterback, second year he's doing this stuff. He's special. All those haters out there. Oh, he did North Dakota. Have you seen Carson Wentz so far this season? What else do you want to see? Spreads the ball around. Throws it to all the targets. By the way, Nelson Aguilar. Talk about a guy who was ridiculed more than anyone else last year, and rightfully so. And he showed up this year. He has showed up this year. I give him full marks and credit for that. I give him full marks for that. He could have laid down this year. He could have said, you know what, I'm just not an NFL receiver. But he showed up. Full marks to Nelson Aguilar. Much scrutiny last year. And again, deservingly so. He was Butterfingers. But he's made some big plays for this team this year. Nice touchdowns. What I say before the season, if we can get 40 to 50 catches and 4 to 5 touchdowns with Nelson Aguilar this year, it's a bonus. Well, he's almost already done more than that. He has 4 touchdowns. And he's been one of their best receivers. He's gone from a guy who was one of their worst receivers a year ago to one of their best receivers. And that has something to do with the quarterback, too. Don't you think that Carson Wentz isn't part of that, too? Because these guys are training in the offseason. And Carson is still showing confidence in him, in all of the receivers. That says a lot about the quarterback. It really does. Because a lot of guys would have said, you suck. You shouldn't even be on the team. Carson took him under his wing and said, hey, you can play. Let's do it. Forget about last year. It's a new year. Leader. To win on the road, you have to win the turnover battle. The Eagles got 3 turnovers. The Panthers got 1. The Panthers are one of the more efficient teams on third down. The Eagles are as well. Eagles are number 1 in the league on third down conversions. Panthers didn't do so good on third down tonight. Panthers went up against the defense tonight. And they're 1 for 3 on fourth down as well, including the one to end the game on a low pass intended for McCaffrey. Cam Newton was hurried. He was rushed. He was sacked a couple times. He was brought down. He was hit hard. And I'll tell you one thing about this Eagles defense. Even when teams are converting passes, they are getting hit. This Eagles defense isn't messing around with anybody. They are hitting people. They are laying the lumber when they bring it on those tackles. And it's been fun to watch. And legal, too. Not penalty hits. They are, doing it within the rules. And boy, it's been fun to watch. It really has. They have leaders on this team. And I've said this over the past few years. I said this team needs leaders. And God bless Malcolm Jenkins. He's been a really great leader since he's come over from the Saints. And I know he kind of got disappeared a bit in those years with Chip. But the last few years, I think we're really seeing the benefits of Malcolm Jenkins, one of the captains on defense. He has been a great leader. Jordan Hicks, young linebacker, leader. Fletcher Cox, leader. I mean, offensively, obviously, Wentz, Peters. I even know what the PEDs, but last year, but Lane Johnson. You see the difference when he's in there and when he's not in there. Let's not be mistaken. I can't say enough about how they played so far. Where's this season going to go? You know what? Who knows? It's 6 weeks in. We still got a long season to go. But next Monday night's huge. Next Monday night's huge because the Redskins, with the suspension to Elliott for 6 weeks, that might really hurt Dallas. And they're already 2-3 with him. So without him, I know Dak's having a good year, but we'll see. But the Redskins at 2-2, coming into this week's game, they could be, who knows? I mean, again, it's early, but they could be the biggest competition for this division. We don't know, but it could be. So if you can sweep Washington and still be undefeated in division play and in conference play, that's huge. And it's early, and a lot can still happen. But this team is showing every week that not only are they a class in this division, but they might be one of the classes in this conference. And I still give a lot of credit to Green Bay and Seattle and to Carolina, even after this loss. Atlanta, they're still going to be a factor, I would imagine, in the conference and in that division. But the win tonight shows that this team can beat anybody in any week. They can win at home. They can win on the road. Because when you have a dominant defense, you can win anywhere. Defense is travel. And when you can play the way this defense has played so far this season, particularly that defensive line, which is absolutely nasty. And I said going into this season, you keep an eye out on this defensive line. They can play anywhere. They can play anywhere. They can travel. They can play at home. Which, by the way, over the last few years now, we're reestablishing that home field advantage, which I love. Because this is a great football town, and this is a great home field advantage when things are going. And I know just a few short years ago it wasn't. Boy, it wasn't. But last year it started up again, and now I know the flame is back in the fire in Philadelphia. And these fans have been showing up and just making all sorts of noise, and it's a great home field. It is. And I know the Link's going to be rocking a week from Monday. That Monday night game against Washington, that's going to be something. And I know all the Eagle Nation's going to be there in full throat. And Eagle Nation, we have a team to cheer for this year, boy. We've waited for this. We've waited for this. You must excuse my exuberance, but when you go from where we were to where we are now, I've earned this. I've earned the fact to be happy now, to be proud. Because of what I saw a few years ago from what I'm seeing now is completely night and day. It's like the switch got flipped. And all the bad and all the wrong that Chip Kelly did got erased, over the last few seasons. And it's a wonderful thing. It's nice to have weapons, isn't it? It's nice to have guys that go and get the ball or run the ball hard through players. Fight for those extra yards. On defense, making stops, getting big turnovers at big parts of the game, not just watching receivers catch balls and run next to them as they're running for a touchdown. We've had some really fun rides in years past. Obviously the Andy Reid years and those teams, and it was said on the radio today, and I agree with it. We got guys again that you can root for again, that you can get behind, like a Carson Wentz or a Malcolm Jenkins or a Fletcher Cox or a name your Eagle, guys, Jordan Hicks. I mean, guys that you can we want to root for these guys. Chip Kelly never got that. He was all about we can just plug anybody in. No, that's not how it works. It's fun to have that again, and you see a lot of smiles, in the city, and you see a lot of optimism, and you see a lot of, pride. That's the one thing this fan base has always had is pride. And when things are going bad, we're going to let you know. And when things are going good, we're going to let you know. But we're always going to be talking. Good or bad or indifferent. But the one thing we've always had for this team is pride. It means something to us to wear the gear, and to support this team every week. This community and all the Eagle Nation all throughout the country and all throughout the world, we all share the same bond and the same dream and the same hope that one day we can finally, get to the top of the mountain. And I don't know if it'll be this year. But I'll tell you what, even if it isn't, we are not long from that. We're not long from that. And it feels damn good to say that. I love the way this team is playing. I love the way this team is competing. They're finding ways to win games. They're finding ways to win. All the national pundits who said they can't beat the Panthers on a short week. Are you kidding me? Cam Newton's going to run all over them. How are they going to stop them? And I know the Panthers lost Luke Kuechly, and that was a big loss for that defense. And I do like Luke Kuechly. I mean, he's a great leader. If he was an Eagle, he would be. You would see so many Kuechly jerseys. He's been a great leader for that franchise, but unfortunately, another concussion. Best of luck to him. Hope to see him on the field again. But the Eagles had injuries too, and the Eagles overcame it, and they overcame the worst refereeing crew in the league. They overcame that too. I mean, my God, and I'm not one to blame officials, if the Eagles lose, but my God, was that pathetic. They might as well have had Panther boxers on under their pants. My God. The ticky-tack calls they were calling on the Eagles, and the Panthers could do nothing. Nothing wrong. They didn't see anything wrong when LeGarrette Blount got shoved out, got thrown on the ground way after the whistle, and the officials just looking at it. And nothing wrong with that. Okay. Oh, but we can touch one of their receivers when, just before they go for the ball. Oh, there comes the flag. Here it comes. Awful. That receiving crew should never be allowed to do another primetime game as long as they're around. And I remember that officiating crew. the head official, the guy, it looks like he should be in a retirement home right now. I mean, that officiating crew has been awful, and every time they do Eagle games, they're awful. And I've seen them do other games, and they've been awful. So they overcame that, too, to get a win. Amazing. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, no intro this week, because I do it I put this together on the Splice app, and I can't. My memory on my iPad is not the greatest. So when I try to do it when I try to do a longer video with Splice, I can't quite. So my somewhat longer videos will be without the intro, but I'll certainly have that intro back. Don't you worry, you'll see that. I'll just have to make sure to do shorter videos when I do my intro, or it just takes forever to load on YouTube when I try to do that. But it's all about the production. So I'm sitting here at almost 1 a.m. on a Thursday night. I got to get to work tomorrow. But I did want to make this video. I probably will not post this video until tomorrow evening. But I am filming it on Thursday night. I can't tell you. This has been one of the best wins I've seen in a number of years. You know, for a number of reasons. I mean, again, you're going into a tough place to win on a short week. 2 4-1 teams going at it, and it was a battle. I mean, this was just one of those games. And I knew after the Arizona game, well, we're probably not going to have another just sit back and relax game for a while, right? Every game is just heart thumping. But I'm very pleased with how this team has played so far. They've given us everything we could have asked for and then some. They're 5-1. It's all laid out in front of them. And I know anything can happen, injuries and everything. Who knows? But it's right there for them now. It's right there. I mean, Dallas with the Zeke suspension now, they're 2-3. They're kind of team turmoil right now, right? A lot of infighting going on there. You got the Giants at 0-5, could be 0-6 this week at Denver. And you got the Redskins, who could be the Eagles' top, opponent in the division this year. Who knows? But it could be. So again, that Monday, a week from Monday night, is going to be huge for the Eagles to get that victory. And I'm glad that they have some extra time to heal up and get ready for that game, because it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle, but I know the fans are going to be there in full throat. And we finally found a way to beat Washington already. So now let us get a bit of a winning streak on them, right? All right, Eagles Nation. Oh God. It's a happy pressure, but it was another one of those, oh my God, games at the end there, fourth quarter. Come on, defense, hold them. Tremendous. I got the lights on. I'll do the wind chimes when I get up the steps. But I'm just going to bask in this win for a while. And the great thing is we have some extra days to bask in it. Don't play again until next Monday night against Washington at home. Eagle Nation, boy. I mean, what can I say that a lot of you haven't already said? We got a team. We got our Eagles back. We missed them. We got him back. Much respect and credit to the players who played tonight, to the coaching staff. But like I said, the game ball for Mighty Fan has to go to defense and how they played. Overcoming injuries, stupid, just horrible penalties by the officiating crew at times. But they were able to withstand and get a win. And in the end, that's all that matters is winning. Get a win. Find a way. Not always going to be easy. Not always everything's going to go your way, but you find a way at the end of it, and at the end you have a higher score than your opponent. And at the end of the season, you have more W's than L's, and you're in the playoffs, and you have home games in the playoffs. That's a great thing. It's a great thing. Now, you got to make the most of it. Right, Dallas? You do have to make the most of it. if you have that opportunity. But it's a great thing. And having seasons like this, from where we were a few seasons ago, night and day better. Compete levels, coaching, playmaking, all across the board, night and day better. 5-1 with a chance next Monday night to go to 6-1, or a week from Monday to go to 6-1 against the Washington Redskins. And I'm going to have another video that week leading up to that game, talk a little about the game coming up and some more thoughts on the season, because you can't just put this all in one video. And I got to get to bed. So, great win, as always, Eagles Nation. We had another one. We had literally sweat out again tonight, but at the end it was worth it because it was another W. They're 5-1. My God. Oh wow. What else can you say? It's been tremendous so far. Let's keep it going, and I'll see you around on my channel. As always, let's go Birds, and let's celebrate another Eagles win, 5-1. They find a way to beat the Panthers in Carolina. All right, everyone. I'll see you around the channel. See you in the next vid. Go Birds as always. Take care.